overreactions to the Lions, Brant. Do the Lions have a Jared Goff problem? Do they have a Dan Campbell problem? I think you could argue both right now, which is, trust me, it is an overreaction. I understand that. Look, I want to know where Lions fans are at right now. Hit that like, follow, subscribe button here on Garage Takes. Let us know what you guys think right now about the Lions after a loss to the Bucs. Surely there's a lot of overreacting that's happening. I understand. But I want to know where your head is at after watching the Lions come up short in a game where really, they put a lot of offense out there and they could not get it done in the red zone. Aiden Hutchinson has a career day, 5 sacks. I mean, that was absolutely insane, but it wasn't enough to take down a pesky team like Baker and the Bucs. And so I want to know, are you at all concerned, Brant? I mean, we saw the mishaps. Dan Campbell took the accountability. He fell on the sword, as all good leaders and coaches would do. And Jared Goff concerned me. He has not looked great in these first 2 weeks, if I'm being honest. I want to know where your head is at with both of those things. And you can totally just call them out as overreactions, don't hit the panic button, or is this something to keep an eye on?
Yeah, Dave, what's funny is you said 5 sacks, but officially it goes down as 4.5 sacks for Aiden Hutchinson, of course, yeah. Just like crazy. I feel like it was 5, but I digress. Yeah, obviously we're going to have some overreactions here. It's week 2 of the NFL season. Let's, pump the brakes on everything. But I think the main takeaway from this, Dave, is the Bucs came to play ball, man. And this might be a storyline we see this season. Lions are going to get to people's best shots. And the NFL, they put the NFL on notice last year. Well, the Lions are on notice right now of we're coming. And I think teams are going to start to relish that opportunity to come up to Detroit, have that loud fan base in their ear, and bring it on. And I mean, Baker Mayfield was literally loving that he was getting that treatment. And coming off the playoff loss, that team was hungry. They wanted it more. And I thought that the Buccaneers played with their hair on fire all game long. And we can talk about the snafu before the end of the half. You don't get the 3 points because we have the false start. We don't have any timeouts, and you get the 10-second runoff. That's a bad look, and one that certainly cost you down the stretch when it could be a 20-19 ball game instead of a 20-16 ball game. You can go down, kick a field goal, win the game. But Dave, I think that the main problem and the main overreaction I have is Jared Goff is throwing the ball too much. This team is not built for this. This team is a time of possession, run the ball down your throat type team, and that's what they're built. They're built inside out. I don't understand why we were, the Ben Johnson game plan was to get Jared Goff to throw it 55 plus times. That seems like that's a recipe for a loss. And I understand we have, Amon-Ra out there running great routes, Jameson Williams doing his thing. But it seems like David Montgomery didn't get the touches he needed. Gibbs, they used him sparingly, I feel like. It was just not enough. It was not enough from the Lions offense to satisfy me as far as running the ball. So I think as we look at this, Dave, you're really going to want to start to push that. And looking, coming up next week, I know we'll talk about it in the betting segment, but the Cardinals are now a hot team, and Detroit needs to get something figured out. And I don't think throwing it 55 times is the answer.
That's certainly not the answer. And I think that this is not Jared Goff. Okay, let's pump the brakes on the overreactions of, I read some things people were like, we should see what Hendon Hooker can do. No,
that's ludicrous. That's
ludicrous. Stop. Jared Goff is a play action quarterback. He is good at what he does, but you have got to, and the reason why he has been so good in Detroit, I mean, there's multiple reasons, but they've used him the right way. They've played to his strengths. They've protected him in the pocket. They've given him time. They've established the run, and it's opened up things for him. They're not doing that right now. You cannot throw it almost 60 times in a game with Goff when you have David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs back there and that O-line. You just can't do it. And I think Ben Johnson deserves some criticism after this one. No, this is 2 games in a row. The Lions established a run early, in week 1 against the Rams. It got away from it almost completely in the second, third, and fourth quarter, and then ended, as we all know, with David Montgomery and the O-line just bully balling their way down the field and playing Lions football. Then they got away from it again against the Bucks, and there's a lack of creativity too, I believe, with Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, we know both those guys can run the football, and they run it hard. They're physical backs. Like, I don't care how small Gibbs looks out there. Like, he's a physical back, but you got to get creative with him. Get him outside the tackles. I'd love to see him use in the receiving game more as well, and having both of them out on the football field more at the same time. I did see it a couple of times. And I'm wondering, Brant, also, where's Sam Laporta? He has been a non-factor after an incredible rookie season, and I think he will catch on. And I think if we're picking this up as fans, the Lions coaching staff is hopefully definitely picking that up. But they've got to get Sam Laporta involved. He's got to be a safety blanket for Jared Goff. He is, he's a threat, and I haven't seen much of him at all. And truthfully, Jameson Williams, I know we talked last week about the breakout year. Like, he hasn't been perfect, but man, he looks good. He looks good, and Amon-Ra looked back to being Amon-Ra, and he was dinged up too. Like, injuries are going to continue to creep up as well. But man, it's frustrating, and it's a long NFL season. This loss. It stinks that it's against an NFC opponent that could have potential seeding implications later on, in January. Hope not. So you hate to lose one like that, especially at home. But I'm not hitting the panic button. I do think that they've got a big challenge ahead of them here in Arizona, and hopefully this team gets right here. But yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't know where they go from here besides just getting back to playing the brand of football that we all know they should be playing.
Dave, is there any concern for you about what I talked about getting everyone's best shot? I mean, didn't you get that feeling that the Bucs were there to really take it to them?
Absolutely, man. I mean, Bowles is a great coach too, and you are going to get every team's best shot. We talked about it in the offseason. I mean, Dan Campbell talked about it after they lost against the Niners last year in the NFC Championship. Like, it's not going to get any easier. Like, every team, the feel good story, and the Lions, and Barry SOL and all this, and the feel good story's done. Like, everyone wants your head now, and they're coming for you, and they're gonna prep. They're going to be ready every game, and there's going to be no game that's going to be handed to you, especially in this league, and especially when you're a great team like the Lions. Brant, I think one thing that went in the Lions' favor this weekend was some of those top NFC teams, they all lost to. Philly, the Niners, the Cowboys, the Rams. Like, that boded well for the Lions, and kind of a weird week in the NFL. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, you say that, and then it's kind of like you see kind of the parity that's happening right now. Then you have the Saints and Cardinals stepping up, and the Vikings. Like, who knows what you're gonna get right now? After watching football this weekend, Dave, I look at some of these lines and I'm like, everything is like under 7 points. Like, nobody is a complete runaway right now, to be a division winner or anything like that. We are going to have some tight races coming down here. And I even watched the Bears on Sunday night, and it's like, their defense is really good, man. And they're going to relish that opportunity to come up here on Thanksgiving. I can argue, there's just going to be so many good matchups, Dave. And I like where the Lions are at. I think they just got to get back to basics. They got to get back to who they are, and they'll be completely fine. I do have still some concerns about the secondary, but I think that's still going to be a work in progress all year. But I kind of like what I'm loving what I'm seeing out of the linebackers and the defensive front right now. And I think that this team's going to be just fine. No panic buttons. I'm not worried about Dan Campbell. The fake punt. It just seems like every time he pulls one of those out, it just works to perfection. Good for him. I don't want to see one go the other way, but I love that Dan Campbell hasn't changed any. I do think that Ben Johnson needs to revamp the offensive strategy at this point.
That grin on Dan Campbell's face after they converted that fake punt. Just big old chaw in his lip, dirty teeth, and he's just so happy. I'm just like, only you, Dan, on your own 30-yard line or whatever that is, in a critical part of the game, gonna fake that punt. But that is him, and it's what's gotten them to this point, is the identity of this team. And you love it when it works. You are scratching your head sometimes when it doesn't. So, you're gonna live and die with that, and that's okay. And look, they got to travel to Arizona this weekend, and those trips across the country like that are never easy. And Arizona is a hot team, and we are going to talk about that here in the betting segment. Make sure you tune in for that. Like I said before, hit that like, follow, subscribe button. Let us know down in the comments. You concerned at all about this team? What exactly are you concerned about? Is it Jared Goff? Is it Ben Johnson? Are you not sold on this defense yet? Terry and Arnold's penalties starting to frustrate you? Let us know what you think.